Hey, DeRacers. So it has only been one day since our last video, and so much has happened. Rebuilt everything today. Super Jocky or SJB or Super Jockey Bot, however you refer to him, he was able to help bridge a gap of something that was just it's so exciting for me because I had to do all this work on the back end. So what I was doing in the previous video is we had to embed an extension, which means that you had to use a third-party system. Some of those you had to pay for, and some of them, if they were free, they had limitations. And what the bad thing was is that for you guys to take this tool from us, you would have to do a couple of additional things. And the goal was to keep it as simple as possible. We wanted to make sure that everybody can use this without the need of programming experience. And so Super Jockey, he was able to release a new tool that cut out all of that. And what this means is that we now have a spreadsheet tool that instantly pulls the data. Nothing needs to be done on your end. When we share this link, which is going to be right now, you will literally just come up here, go to File, and click on Make a Copy, name it whatever you want to name it, and put it in your folder. It is yours. You could edit it. Nothing is password protected if you want to. You'll be able to see all of our formulas and our styles. If you have this little div 0, that's just because there isn't data for that. So when you put in any type of horse, you just need to type it here in B1, and the rest of it's going to happen. On the top right corner, you can play around with some of those stats of like insane, profitable, etc. But realistically, those are the numbers that we have found that were great. The only thing about this is that previous tools, we were pulling the averages of first place, second place, and third place dynamically because we are always adding data. This one, we're not doing that because we're only zooming in on one specific horse. But you'll notice that the naming convention up here, we call it DeRacers Analytics 01. When we continue to make tools, which we will, we're going to be updating some of those metrics. So as wearables come out and if horses get faster, which we expect they eventually will, we'll be making those adjustments. But from what I've seen over the past hundreds of thousands of lines of code that we've looked through, it's pretty flat line. So I don't think it's going to cause anybody issues, but just know that there's going to be benefits to updating the links in the future.
Yep. I also just wanted to point out that the insane, good, profitable percentages are adjustable. And when you play around with those, it will actually change the conditional formatting on this page. So anything that you see that's red, it's just indicating that it's below that profitable cutoff. Anything that's highlighted in green means that it's greater than that insane percentage. So it's just bringing attention to where your horse is good and or bad currently. And you can see here, I think you're going to talk about this particular horse that you are training right now during the season 2, getting ready during week 1 of discovery.
Yeah, so there was some feedback I got from our community. People wanted to see the PPR and the race experience with the conditional formatting in place. So the red and the green, those are only conditional formats based off of indisputable score. And then below it, you'll see like the races here, 2, 3, 1, the profit per race. There hasn't been this horse, again, very early in the discovery stage. And then you can see where I've hit. I, of course, want to make sure I get my numbers up before I have to lock in and start competing. But this tool, it's really helpful. Scattershot everywhere. When you're doing discovery or training, it's going to automatically start to highlight areas that once you get past like 10 on all of them, look for the green, look for the dark bold, avoid the red maybe. And then once that horse starts to make profit, then maybe hit those reds a little bit more so it's paying for its losses. But just out the gate, a lot of people, I think, give up too early on a horse. And this tool, we've been doing this since day 1. We've built like 30 plus tools, hundreds of hours, but this seems to work really well for us. And our racing team, they've seen huge success from this. The community and analytics that we did for you guys, we've heard so many good things that this has been helping. So if you're new to this and you're looking for the tools of what the pros are doing, this is what seems to work really well. So it's yours, make a copy. And
we're making it public because we want to make sure that you can take it and analyze any horse that you find out there. You can type in any horse ID. You're on OpenSea. You find a random horse ID and you want to see if it's been raced, see if it has any data. This one's updating right now. Doesn't look like it's ever been raced. So you can just pick a random one, 2,500, let's say, and see if it's been raced. See if it's new. Here you go. We've got one that's raced 100 plus times on synthetic.
Yep.
And it's got what appears to be one decent track, or at least a track that you could target to learn more about it. It's only run it 4 times on those synth 9s. That would be something we'd hit at least a handful more times to see if it's going to turn red.
Yep.
It's got decent spots right next to that at 8s that it's run a lot.
And what I think is interesting too is pay attention to this. So you might have raced this horse and you might have lost because it looks like your PPR is down. So you might have given up on it, but indisputably, you must have raced some really fast horses on that. You've lost, even though your times were great. So if this person has given up on this horse because they had a bad 4 races, you didn't have a bad 4 races. You actually had a pretty good race, but your competition at the time was really stiff. Now, obviously, it looks like you're putting your energy into synthetic 8s. You got 48 there. Your profitability seems decent. And then you're right over here, synthetic 3s. It's a great tool. 18 is fringe worthy. Like we say, again, on 2s, high indisputable. You've only raced 4. You've lost some. You might want to hit those again. So this is really easy, really beneficial to use. Detailed furlong analysis. As we switch over here, there is so much to go into this one. We made some modifications since yesterday. We were realizing horse after horse after horse, there's this precipitous drop off about 25%. So we just added some indicators down here. The first 20 or first 75% of the race, what is your average? The last 25, what is your average? What's the improvement? So here on Scondert on 15s, he is accelerating by about 6% on the last 4 furlongs. So as you're taking a look at certain horses, again, we don't fully know what this all means yet. This is a very young tool, very exciting data. We think that there's a ton to be broken into. We're going to be doing more updates on this, but it's yours. So all you need to do up here, change your ID, your surface. I put a note here. Dirts are 0s, synthetics are 1s, turfs are 2s, and then put in your furlong. And as you change this, this will just automatically adjust. You could see the metrics will go instantly. So
it's a great additional free tool. And just a reminder, when you make a copy of this, you get both of these. You get the horse stats and the detailed furlong analysis automatically, and you get it for you to play with.
So yeah, mad props. This is all thanks to Super Jocky Bot. We made sure that if you're looking for it, give him some love. He has his Discord channel. So that Discord channel, there's research stats. There's a lot of information, community going on there. We created our own Discord channel as well for the DeRacers Elite Racing Club. And inside there, we have created a sub that's going to be just free tools. So if you ever want to come into our Discord, we're going to be constantly updating from there. We'll be sharing it to the other Discords as well. We have no reason to hold back on that. But in the event that there's other talking points and our stuff gets pushed out of the way and you're looking for it, there'll just always be a safe place to find it. Just go to ours. You'll go to the free tools. But like
exactly,
I said,
the DeRacers stuff is going to be available because that's the stuff we've developed. Super Jockey Bot is collaborating with a lot of different people from the community, and there's going to be a lot of tools. There's going to be a lot that's coming out of this, and things can get lost. So if you are looking for this in particular, come track down DeRacers Elite, or reach out to us here on YouTube, and we'll make sure there's some links to things in the description.
Yeah. Now, we were talking about this for the past 24 hours. It's come about. We're talking about this, some of the things that are coming that are really exciting and what this stuff can do. We did that little live stream event, which was just impromptu. It was a lot of fun. And we were talking about the horses that were raced, and we were using the deracing.org, which is a great site as well. But these tools are now and might be better because they're going to be able to give you a little bit more in depth. And when we were watching or doing the live stream, we had to manually look up a horse. We had to find the little spot, and we were trying to make sense of what this horse is. In the future, if we have live streaming, or if other people are doing this, or if there's third-party organizations coming in, you'll have the ability. I'm just going to throw in 2501. If we want to look at a random horse, if this one has any data on a specific track, of course, this one does not. Let's see, 2600. Man, people need to race more. But we'll be able to know really quickly, what is this horse's experience? What has it done? Let's go one I know is raced. And then you'll be able to see, where is it strong? Where is it weak? And you'll be able to take a look at the competition. People watching this and talking about it, there's going to be content there available. And thanks to this scraping ability and instant access to data, you're going to be able to have so much more faster knowledge of these horses. And so the new people, especially.
Yeah, I think that's one of the best things that DeRace has going for it. All of the tools that we're developing within the community, there's all of this data, that's going to allow for things like live streaming, as well as just you sitting back on your couch and enjoying analyzing your horse. But you've also got the other tools that are being developed within DERC Army, within Super Jockey Bots, Discords, where you can see there's teams that are working on putting together, whether it be bots or analytics. There's charting that's starting to come out, a lot of good visuals that we're seeing people are sharing with us. And we're going to be developing our own as well. So that's something that I think, honestly, DeRace has going for it. In the next 6+ months, you're going to see that just explode. And the amount of stuff that you can see and analyze with your horse. We've been here for, 8+ months at this point since the launch. And we've had to churn through getting to know our horses. And this tool allows you to, in basically a single snapshot, or maybe two if you're looking at both tabs, be able to understand what your horse can do after it's been raced, even just a short time. And that's really powerful. We've spent months trying to do exactly this and having thousands of lines of data in all of our sheets. And now you can see it on a single screen.
Yep.
It's incredible.
With V2 coming, we're going to have the ability to burn horses. And so what I get nervous about, I think you'll be able to burn Gen Zeros, which I don't think you should, but it's your horse. Before you burn a horse, you really need to race it more. I can't get over this because like I look at way too many horses and it's too little data. And just give it a go. Hit those tracks, take a look at the data and get a sense of this one. Like I'm going through an epic losing streak right now with some horses that are very, very good. In the past 25 races, I think I've podiumed twice, which sucks. Normally it's 30 to 45% that I'm podiuming. So it happens. And if you got a horse that just started on a bad cycle, yeah, it's a bad indicator. But if you burn it, you might have lost out on the good cycle. You might pick up a horse on the floor for 2 or 3 races deep that people gave up on it. 2 or 3 days as deep is a pathetic amount of data. So be cautious on this, as we're going to be able to burn or convert into sugar cubes so we can get wearables. I just think it would be just really unfortunate if you found out that, or you lost out on an opportunity because you converted it too early without doing ample testing. And
do you feel like V2 and the wearables and everything that's coming out is going to be something that's positive initially? I mean, obviously long term, it's got benefits. It's going to make things more realistic. But when it comes to sugar cubes and chests and things like that, where you can unlock, that's really gamifying this game already, and going toward the route of trying to make sure that we have lots of usage, that you're racing a lot. But in terms of the future for DeRace, making sure that it's more realistic and where you see it taking DeRace in 6+ months, a year from now, what do you think the wearables and stuff is going to be? Is that a positive? Because initially I'm not 100% convinced. We don't know if burning a Gen Zero is going to be good for DeRace. It's still a question mark, but I think some of these other V2 things could be really powerful.
Burning a Gen Zero, I just am emphatically against, but I think wearables and I think the burning situation is all good. When we looked into this industry, there were other products that we could pick from, but I was really drawn to the attempt to be more realistic to the race, to see the hippodromes and to see jockeys and seeing lane changes is going to be sick. So I'm really curious. And when we talk to Christie's, I'm really curious to see if we could find some information about that. Whether is the jockeys, is it just an aesthetic thing? Is it a linear speed thing? Or is it going to lead to optimizing the routes and all of that? When we see a pack of horses zigzagging and competing, I'm hoping that comes out really smooth. Watching horse racing live time in real world is exciting to me. And once we can get that into a digital format, I think it's going to be a game changer.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's some of the most exciting things for me is seeing the on-screen in-race changes. That's what V2 really brings for me. Like the chests and keys, okay, that's fine. Burning horses, getting sugar, that's all fine. But to me, it's when my race starts, what do I see visually? And I think there's a lot of stuff that we're going to see, especially with jockeys about to get added in. It's going to make for a fun thing. And circling back around to the data that we're seeing here, all of this is going to change because you're now adding in a whole new set of inputs, plus or minus stamina, speed, reaction, and what that's going to mean, depending on what your wearable is, what your jockey's doing, et cetera.
Well, the wearables, as we understand, it might increase or decrease the speed score by 1, 2, 3 points. We don't know what that means. I think we estimate that it's a range from maybe 1 to 100, but we don't know what the impact of a 1 is when it comes to the milliseconds on a furlong.
Correct.
So when we start wearing or putting wearables on, in my opinion, I have a handful of horses, but no horse is as battle tested as Skandard. I will put nothing on any horse until I feel confident. And I have a feeling that my confidence is not going to take place until I'm like well over 200 races. I know turf well with Skandard. If I put something on him and he starts to perform differently, I feel like I'm going to be able to see that. Some of my other horses, not so much. So I think people are going to make a mistake and they're going to put wearables on it. It's going to jack up their speed or stamina for better and worse. But I think people are also going to enter a bad cycle when they put on a specific wearable and they're going to throw up their hands and go, this saddle slowed me down. This was bad. But the reality is that your horse was just running really well previously and it was entering a bad cycle when you did that wearable.
That's a great point.
If you don't know those things, you're going to screw yourself. And so racing.
Yeah, and that actually opens up an opportunity for people that are racing regularly, that are using tools like this, where you're going to be able to see that person decided to sell off a wearable because it didn't do anything for their horse. And that's an opportunity for you to snag something that might actually benefit you, especially if you're targeting what that wearable can do for you.
Yep. Now we have 5,000 horses that are Gen 0. I think we know that there's about 500 Gen 1s around that. So
I think it's a little higher than that now, but
up.
It's 650 or so.
Okay. So we have under 6,000 horses. I mean, some guys on our racing team own about a quarter of all the horses. So there's not that many to go around. So like as we start burning, we got guilds that are coming, the collaboration that DeRace is doing. There's going to be, I'm hoping there's going to be a supply shock. So as people start to sell their donkeys or burn their donkeys, especially, you're going to get more and more limitations. So I think that there's some good things coming, that even if you have a horse that you're not 100% sure on, you may want to hesitate about burning it. I have probably only 1 or 2 horses that I have on the burning block. I've realized through season 2 that I need to get even more training on some of my horses that have 600, 700 races in it. So there's a lot more that needs to be done.
Yep. I think the community is going to see an influx, especially as the market gets better, right? Like we're going to see a lot more people bringing, let's be honest, funds, money to the table, wanting to own NFTs, especially NFTs that you can gamify and be able to join a community like we're seeing with DERC Army. I mean, honestly, right now with season 2 going on, DERC Army is one of the funnest places to be. It's brought, I don't even know the numbers, but easily triple the number of racers to the DeRace site and the track every day. Like we're seeing races fill super fast. And that's because it's a competition, because it's a tournament, but also because they're breeding and building a community that wants to be there and wants to compete. And knowing that that's there and available is one of the best things that I think we can see in the future when we do see guilds, when we see additional teams, when we see teams have to fine tune who's on their team. That's going to make for a lot more community involvement and engagement.
Oh, absolutely. If there's ever a cap on teams, don't know if there will be, but if there's a major and a minor league, you got 10 people currently limited to a team. So there's only so much space. It's going to get interesting. Like after a team gets saturated at the end of the season, you might see people get kicked off the teams for being low performers. You're going to see people pluck. Like within ours, we're trying to offer liquid love and additional stats tools to encourage the best of the best to join ours. And you're going to see us do our best to steal from other people so we can grow a stronger team. It's going to happen. So you're going to see a whole new wave of excitement. And we barely scratched the surface. We're 8 months since launch, not even out of beta yet. And we got so many cool things happening. You and I mean, we started this because we just wanted to share with the community and try to make things make more sense, because it seems difficult to extract knowledge of what's happening in DeRace. But modern times, we're falling behind because there's so many things to do. The amount of community projects that are coming out, the interviews that we have with that, interviews with DeRace, new things that DeRace is launching. And I'm assuming once this whole thing finishes with season 2, August, I'm assuming it's going to be a pretty epic month. DeRace is most likely going to be launching V2 stuff then. They talk about there's going to be surprises. Like, in a bear market, I feel good here, which is nice. It's been a while since I felt good in some spaces. And I mean, DeRace is a young project. It was rocky in the beginning, but I think that they're starting to do some really good work. And I applaud the community for their involvement. It's amazing.
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah. So, I mean, with that said, I would just remember we're going to be coming out with a couple more interviews that are coming. We really need to talk about season 2. We've been doing a lot behind the scenes, trying to catch up. But yeah, that's pretty much it. And I just want to remind people to end this video. We are making this tool available because we want to make sure you get a chance to get involved. Yep. Seriously, get involved. Go find a floor horse that looks decent on one track and start racing it. Yep. And just remember, guys, when you get to this link, file, make a copy. If you use it on this one, it will still work. But if you're trying to process, if I switch to Burra, and if I was currently looking at Scondert and somebody showed up and typed that, it's going to knock out all your data. If you make a copy, it's going to function and it's yours. So whether or not I put this in the YouTube, but it's going to be around, you'll find it, share it, pass it around with your friends, get other people in on DeRace. And these tools are great. If you need more, if you have any questions on it, post to us, and we will do our best to help. If you want us to add things to it that are over your head, just give us feedback and we'll make it happen. Perfect. And I just want to remind people, if you like videos like this and tools like this, make sure you like and subscribe the video. All right. See ya.